two things. And I'm saying two things so that I don't forget. I want to talk about two things. The first one is a mindset issue. And that is they come in wanting the result and not wanting to live the lifestyle that gets them the result. And so there's the mindset flip of, oh, wait a second, what is the lifestyle that those people that they see, that they think, okay, I know I can do it. I can be that person that I envision in my mind or that I see as examples. What kind of lifestyle are they living? And then are these people also willing to live a similar lifestyle? And not focus so much about the results, because it's the small daily actions that compound and get to the results.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Being Movement, where we inspire you to take action, influence you for change, and motivate you for success. Today, we're going to have an exceptional show. It's all about healthy as fuck. As an entrepreneur, tips for weight loss and increasing energy, the importance of food as fuel to scale your business. But before we get into this, let me introduce to you my two favorite co-hosts, the one and only Fred Martinez. Fred, how are you today?
I'm number one, Chris. I'm number one. I'm doing great, man.
I love how you guys are always in competition. I try to balance it out, going back and forth, letting who goes first. Chris, what's going on, my friend?
I'm feeling depressed and sad, man. Why are you doing this to me? Second place, dude? Come on. No, I'm good.
Chris, you're always first place in my heart, so don't you worry about it. But listen, let's not waste any more time. Who's first, who's second? I'm always number one, so you guys never have to worry about that, okay? But let's get into our guest today. We have the one and only Phoebe Jenkins with us. She is on a mission to help 1,000 entrepreneurs and executives look and feel healthy as fuck, so they can have a long-term impact on the world. She knows that being healthier will make you a better entrepreneur, so you can improve your performance and your success. Phoebe Jenkins, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction and for having me on this show today. After the introductions, I am feeling even better than I already was. Excited to be here today.
I love it. I love that we got you a little pumped up today, so that's awesome. So listen, you're on this mission to help 1,000 entrepreneurs. What is this mission? Why did you decide to do it? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's really common. I imagine you have seen it. Business owners, entrepreneurs, right? We get really focused in our business. We're like, let's make some money. Let's make a huge impact on the world. We have something to share. We want to grow. We want to scale ourselves, scale our business. And while that happens, our health somehow gets put on the back burner. And before we realize it, we are way more overweight. We step on the scale and there's like this fuck it moment. How did I get to here?
Sure.
We're maybe snacking all the time, driving through drive-throughs, really no good eating habits, exercise here, there, nothing real consistent. And there's this kind of inner dialogue that says, well, right now I'm focusing on my business. It's okay. It's okay for me to be putting my health on the back burner while I'm scaling my career. And when my career is at point, XYZ, then I'll focus on my health. Yeah. And as a business owner, I've owned multiple businesses in my life. And as a health coach, I realized that inner dialogue is not correct. And it's actually hurting us more than helping us, because if we don't have our health while we're scaling our career, we're not going to be scaling our career as well as we could. And so as a business owner myself, I feel for other business owners who aren't able to have that balance and who actually aren't reaching their fullest potential. And so my mission is to help them have both, because it's truly possible to look great, to feel great, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and to be wealthy.
No, I love it. Now, how did you get onto this journey? Like, how did you get from where you were to where you are now?
Yeah, so I've always had a drive for health. And that started, honestly, when I was very young. I grew up in a very healthy household and on an organic homestead. And so there was always this focus on sourcing food locally, having good nutrition, having a focus around moving our bodies, exercising. And when I was in my young teens, I saw a lot of other children my age already overweight. I grew up in a very rural area. They were already overweight. Some of them already had diabetes, had asthma. And in a sense, they seemed very sad with life already, you know, at age 11, 12, 13, 14. And that to me was very disheartening. And I had this desire to, when I'm older, I'm going to make a place that shows kids how they can have a great childhood because they feel good in their body, still be able to run around and play games and, you know, just feel good physically. And I don't particularly work with children, but that was really the starting point for my drive. And that led me to start teaching group fitness and to, you know, start pursuing yoga and to go to school for health coaching. And then as I became a business owner, focusing on more the exercise side of things or the bodywork side of things, made me realize how much it's the business owners and entrepreneurs that really, really suffer. So that's my story in a nutshell.
I have a question real quick. You mentioned this concept that's just, I know is alien to so many people, and that is being able to make a lot of money at the same time, be healthy and happy. Like, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people have a hard time believing that's even possible. How would you tell somebody like who's like, wait, what? Like, how do they usually react when you tell them this?
Yeah, so, you know, honestly, the reaction I often get is this sense of, oh yeah, like I know, but it's just too much work. And here's the thing, like most of these people are already working at least 40 hours, some of them 60 hours, some of them 80 hours, and not necessarily scaling exponentially in a short amount of time. Here's the thing, if their energy is, you know, off the charts, if their energy is high, if they're feeling confident in their body, then they're going to scale a lot faster. And so it's not even so much of this concept of like, well, how am I, happy when I'm working 80 hours? Well, it's more like, well, if you're working 60 hours and you have more energy and you only work for 40 hours, you're going to get a ton more done. And you're going to have time in your after hours to actually enjoy your life, which is going to fuel you to be more inspired in your business and probably have better ideas in your business. So it is possible, but it's almost this kind of reframe. It's not this, I'm going to keep working 60, 80 hours and then somehow go to the gym for 2 hours after that. Like, that's impossible.
One thing that you brought up is energy. And that's one thing that I realized within myself with being an athlete. First thing in the morning, you end up getting your engine started. It's just like anything in life. You go ahead and make it a priority. Sometimes people wait until the end of the day to work out and they're dead ass tired. They do it in the morning, they get it done. The one thing I've learned from like watching a lot of videos, there's a Navy SEAL commander that he was an admiral, and he always said, make your bed. That's the first task. And so that's one thing I wanted to really see, because I could see it within you radiating about the energy. And I see probably with entrepreneurial individuals who basically don't realize that you start what you want to get what you want. You got to go ahead and start in the morning to help you propel you for the rest of your day. So what tips do you give to individuals?
Fred, I absolutely love you bringing that up, because creating, there's a term called the miracle morning. I did not create that term. There's a whole book about it. I'm not going to remember the name of that book currently. But I help my clients create a miracle morning because I agree with you 100%. And as a personal note, in the mornings, yes, exercise. I also actually make my dinner in the morning. I often will have dinner cooked before 7 a.m. because to me, the workday ends. I don't want to be in the kitchen for an hour and trying to exercise. When the workday ends, I want to be walking my dog. I want to be hanging out with my friends, or Zoom or whatever it is with these days in the pandemic. I want to be having a life, right? So I wake up and just like you said, there is a morning that's, okay, delegating tasks, figuring out the to-do list, exercising, doesn't need to be for hours, and making a dinner. And again, that also doesn't need to be for hours. And so specific tangible tasks that I work on with my clients is starting small and having a set wake up time. A lot of people will worry about what time they're going to bed, and the bedtime is less important than having a very consistent, exact wake up time every single morning. that will directly impact the sleep routine, but that will also give that window of opportunity in the morning to add the most important tasks in the day. Because just like you said, if it's not done in the morning, it's likely not going to get done at all. And that's the idea of front loading, right? So whatever is most important to you needs to happen in the beginning of the day.
Awesome. So a lot of time management skills right there. I know you mentioned earlier about the time management. What do you tell individuals about time management with entrepreneurial individuals?
Yeah, and actually I have a 12-week program, and we spend the first chunk on food and movement, and then we spend the whole middle chunk on time management. So it is a really important thing to me, because if time management isn't even in the scope of one's daily life, then, well, nothing's really going to happen, in my opinion. Really, what gets measured is going to get managed. And so some of the tips that I give my clients and that I follow myself is, one, like I mentioned a moment ago, in the morning, always writing. And that could be a 3 to 5 minute chunk of time where the kind of 3 key tasks for that day are written down and broken down into action steps. So there's a plan listed for that day. And that plan also includes, yes, work things, but also includes the balance of the healthy things, food, movement, something for joy. Also, I have clients do a lot of brain dumping before bed or in the evening to get out any unnecessary thoughts that might hold them back from moving more consistently in the day or creating moments of hesitation, which is wasted time. And a brain dump is literally just taking a piece of paper or a blank computer screen and dumping every single thing out on that, so that the next day when it rolls around, there's not that, what was I remembering? Or I need to hesitate and think about this. It's just go, go, go in a healthy way that the body and mind can just focus. So writing is a big one that I have people do. I also will encourage the Pomodoro technique, if you're familiar with that, which is really a form of time blocking. And it's a way to say, okay, this time block is for XYZ, that time block is for XYZ. When the timer goes off, then nothing else. Then we don't continue on that one. We switch to whatever is planned next. And it also structures in breaks, even though they're short, but breaks to stand up, because I believe smoking is the new sitting, to stand up, have some water, have a snack, and then get right back to work. And actually our brain functions a lot better that way. You know, working for long periods of time, there usually comes a point where we start to say, or we start to feel that our thinking is a little bit slower, or maybe not writing as fast, our calls maybe aren't as great, et cetera, et cetera.
I know that when you're talking about this whole time management, I work as an engineer, and the one thing I've noticed that it's always about driven, not having the ability to stand up, take a break, because how I work different than most engineers. I would go ahead and every 30 minutes, get up, go for a walk so I can get the recharge to go through my mind of like, what am I working on? So then I can go and get back to my desk, sit down, and then do things. And when you were mentioning about like the sitting is the new smoking, people don't realize that when you sit for a long period of time, that you got a problem with your psoas. You have a problem with so many muscles in your body, and they have back problems. And then where do they go? They have to go to maybe physical therapy, whereas they could have prevented this themselves to been able to be in movement. And when you're in movement, which you mentioned earlier, which is a way to get everything started. So it's a way of constantly being in movement throughout the whole entire day, so you could be more productive. So then if you have say you're putting in 60 hours at work, you're being productive within those times, because when you talked about the time management and the blocking, you're putting all your force into that particular time, and then you end up coming back to it and taking a break or whatever you need to do, and you're always recharging. I love it.
Exactly. And during those breaks, right, all the social media is turned off, all the distractions are turned off, and it is 100% focus on that break. And so it's the best, highest quality work. And I love what you brought up about, the psoas in relation to sitting, and how some muscles will get weak and some will get strong from that exact same duration. And something I'd love to add into that I often see happen is clients who will sit for long periods, and then they get up and then they bike or they run. And I love biking and I love running, but it's all the same kind of movement plane, if that makes sense, where, you know, biking is a very similar position to seated and running is almost a very similar position. And so these clients will then have, like you mentioned, back injuries or hip flexor injuries. And they'll say, oh, darn, now I'm laid up in bed and I can't work for a week, or I can only work for a few hours before my back hurts. And now they're saying, well, you know, how can I get healthy and wealthy? Well, if you don't take care of your health, you're never going to get wealthy if you're having whole, you know, weeks or days where you're in pain.